everybody. Welcome to the Cook Memorial Public Library's live storytelling, traditional storytelling event. It looks like we might be having a little technical difficulty here, so I'm just going to have to hope that you are all able to see me out there. So welcome everybody. My name is Sue McCowan. I'm a children's librarian, and we're streaming to you live here on Facebook tonight. And welcome. I'm happy to see you all. So, we are in the middle of a quarantine, and we are all at home by ourselves in our houses trying to entertain ourselves. So we at the library thought that it might be fun to harken back to a more traditional time and a more traditional form of entertainment that has been around for a long, long time. People have been telling stories for thousands of years. It's long before there were pictures in books or special effects in movies to move the story along. There's just a good story, someone telling it to you, and your own imagination. So I have a story to tell you tonight that I love very much and that I hope that you're going to enjoy too. Now, like many stories, you can find this in many different parts of the world. This story has been told in different versions across the Balkans of Eastern Europe, in Turkey, and you'll find it in various collections of Jewish folktales. Now, the version I am going to tell you tonight is the one that my grandmother told me when I was a little girl, and I hope you will enjoy it. The name of this story is The Most Precious Gift. So here we go. There was once a sultan who had a beautiful daughter. She was so beautiful that she gave new meaning to the word exquisite. He was very proud of his daughter, and so he decreed that no man would be allowed to marry her until he had first given the sultan the most precious gift in the world. For the sultan thought that if he had to give up his beautiful daughter, he wanted to get something precious in return. So the suitors started coming. There were kings and princes, nobles and scholars. There were warriors and travelers, people from all over the world, and each came bearing what he thought was the most precious gift in the world. Some tried to give him gold, but the sultan said, "Oh, I have chests full of gold. I don't need any more gold." Others gave him beautiful silver, but he said, "Oh, I have rooms and rooms full of silver." Some brought what they thought were the most rare and beautiful and wonderful jewels in the world. But the sultan simply said, "Oh, I have mountains of jewels. I need no more jewels." After a while, the suitors gave up and stopped coming. But meanwhile, in the next kingdom over, there was an old king, and he had 3 sons. And one morning the old king woke up and he called his sons to him and he said, my boys, I've had a dream. And in my dream, one of you marries the princess." Well, the boys were understandably very excited. "Oh, tell us, Daddy, tell us. Which one of us marries her?" And the old king said, "Well, that's the problem. I woke up before the dream was over, so I don't know which one of you it was. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give each one of you 1,000 gold pieces for you to go out and search for this most precious gift." Now, these were not just any old 3 brothers. These were 3 brothers who were also the very best of friends. And so they decided that they would go and search for this precious gift together. They had heard that there was a village high in the mountains that was magical, and they decided to try to find it and try their luck there. So they loaded up their saddlebags, and they climbed on their horses, and off they rode. And after a very long journey, they did find the magical village. And they tied up their horses in the central square, and they stood and looked about them and noticed that there were 3 streets coming off of the square. So the oldest brother said, "Okay." And he turned to the middle brother and said, "You go down the street to the left." And to the youngest brother, he said, "You go down the street to the right. I'll go down the street in the middle. We'll each go for an hour and search, and then we'll meet back here and see what we found. And good luck to us all." So the three brothers clasped hands, and then they each went off down their assigned streets. Now, like many villages at that time, in this village, each street was home to a particular kind of craft person. So all the potters worked on one street, and all the carpenters worked on another, and the clothing workers worked on another, and so on and so forth. So as the oldest brother went down the middle street, he discovered that on this street, every shop sold only mirrors. There were so many mirrors. There were big ones and small ones and gold ones and silver ones, and he saw some beautiful, amazing mirrors. But he didn't see anything that looked really, really special. He couldn't find anything precious. And then towards the end of the hour, he walked into the very last shop on the street. And as he stood there looking around, he noticed off to the side there was a strange little man standing there, very odd-looking small man. He had black beard, he had long black hair, he was wearing a black robe, and he had a pointed hat, a very tall one with lots of stars and moons on it. Do you have a guess what kind of man he was? I bet you do. Well, the little man spoke, and he had a really surprisingly very deep voice for such a small man. And the brother heard him say, "What do you want?" "Excuse me," said the brother. "Don't make me say it again. I don't want to waste my time. I asked, what do you want?" "Oh, well," said the son, I'm searching. I don't think you're really going to be able to help me, but you see, I'm looking for the most precious gift in the world." "Really?" said the man. "It's in the back. Come on, follow me." "What?" said the son. "Don't make me say it again. It's in the back. Follow me." And so the son followed the old man in the little man into the back room, where he rummaged around on a table, and then he pulled out a mirror, a plain mirror trimmed copper, and handed it to the oldest son. "There you go," he said, "the most precious gift in the world." Well, the son looked at it, and it didn't look very precious to him, and he said, "It's a mirror. It's just a plain, ordinary mirror." "Ha! That's what you think," said the little man. "That is a magic mirror. Now, think of your father and look in that mirror." So the son did what he was told, and he thought about his father, and as he looked down in the mirror, misty clouds began to run all across it. And when the clouds fell away, he looked in it, and he saw his father sitting in his room at the castle reading a book. "That's amazing," said the oldest brother. "I know," said the little man. "It's wonderful, isn't it? That is a magic mirror. All you have to do is think of someone, and you'll see them in it right away." "Wonderful, wonderful," said the oldest son. "How much does it cost?" "I will sell it to you for 1,000 pieces of gold." "Fine, fine," said the oldest son, and he paid over his money to the man, and he took the mirror, and he ran out of the shop and went looking for his brothers. Meanwhile, the second brother, remember, he's the one walking down the street to the left, he discovered that all of the shops on his street sold only carpets. There were thick carpets and thin carpets. There were rich colors. There were pale colors. He saw so many different kinds of carpets. But none of them looked really special. None of them was precious. And he, too, came to the end of the street, right near the end of the hour, and he walked into the very last shop on the street. And as he was standing inside looking around, he heard a deep voice that said, "And what do you want?" And he looked around, and there he saw a small little man, and he had long black hair and a black beard. He was wearing long black robes, and he had on a big, tall, pointed hat with stars and moons all over it. And the middle son said, "Excuse me?" And the little man said, "I don't want to waste my time. You're not here to waste my time, are you? I said, what do you want?" And the middle son said, "Well, I was hoping you could help me, but I don't know that you're going to be able to give me any help. You see, I'm looking for the most precious gift in the world." "You too," said the old man. "Well, you're in luck. Come on, it's in the back. Follow me." Wow. The young middle son didn't know what to think, so he followed the man into the back room, and the strange little man went in the corner, and he pulled out a rolled up carpet, and he rolled it down in front of the middle son with a triumphant smile. "There it is," he said, "the most precious gift in the world." The middle son looked down at it and he said, "It's a rug, and it's a used rug. Look, it even has stains on it." And the old man in the black hat said, "Ha! That, my young man, is a magic rug. Now you sit down on that rug and close your eyes and think of your father's castle." So the little son did as he told him. He sat down and he closed his eyes. And when he opened them, there he was, sitting in his father's room in the castle, and his father was right there reading a book. He couldn't believe his eyes. Neither could his father. His father jumped up and said, "What are you doing here?" And the middle son said, I don't really know. I was in the shop with this little man." Boom. As soon as he said little man, he was back in the shop. He jumped up. "That was amazing," he said. "I know," said the little man. "It's a magic carpet. All you have to do is think of a place and you will be there instantly." "Amazing," said the middle son. "How much does it cost?" And the little man said, "I will sell it to you for 1,000 coins of gold." Well, the youngest brother couldn't pay him fast enough, and he turned over all of his money and rolled up the carpet and grabbed it and ran out and went to look for his brothers. Now, you haven't forgotten the third brother, have you? He's going down the street to the right, and he discovered that this was the street that sold all fruits and vegetables. He saw all sorts of colorful fruits and vegetables. There were red apples and oranges. There was broccoli and avocado. There was beets and bananas. There was just all kinds of fruit and vegetables everywhere. It looked yummy, but it didn't look especially precious. Before he got discouraged, at the end of the hour, he got to the very last stand on the street. And as he stood looking around, he heard, you guessed it, he heard a deep voice. "Well, and what do you want?" The young man turned and smiled at the little man in black. "Why, good day, sir. How are you?" The little man was surprised at the courtesy of this son. He said, "I'm fine, thank you very much, but what do you want?" And the young son said, "Well, I hope you can help me, sir. I've been looking all over, and I'm trying to find the most precious gift in the world." "Of course," said the little man. "Come on, it's in the back." "Wonderful," said the young son, which startled the little man in black again. And he followed him to the back of the stand, where the little man rummaged around in all of his crates, and he came back and he handed the youngest brother an enormous lemon. It was a lemon. And what did the youngest son do? He took that lemon and he carried it very gently. He said, "Oh, thank you so much, sir, for all of your help. How much does it cost?" And I said, "Well, it costs 1,000 gold pieces, but don't you want to know what it does?" "Oh, of course, you're right," said the youngest son. "How silly of me. What does it do?" "That is a magic lemon, and its juice can cure any illness. But use it wisely, because it will work only once." "Okay," said the son. "Thank you very much." And he paid his 1,000 pieces of gold And he took his lemon and he ran out of the shop and went back looking for his brothers. Now, as it happens, all three brothers made it back to the central square at the exact same moment. Now, that might sound a little odd to you. It sounds a little odd to me too, but things like this happen in stories all the time. So they all came back into the square at the same time, and the oldest brother said, "Well, brothers, I hope you all have bought me a wedding gift, because I think I have found the most precious gift in the world. It's a magic mirror." And the middle brother said, "Well, I have a magic carpet. It could be me. I could have the most precious gift of all." And the youngest son said, and I have a lemon." "A what?" said the two older brothers. "It's a lemon, but it's a magic lemon. Its juice can cure any illness. It does only work once, though." Well, the two older brothers, they kind of looked at each other. They rolled their eyes. They smiled. It's like, well, they loved their younger brother, but he was, after all, the youngest. He wasn't always all that bright. But anyway, they decided to just leave it be. And at this point, the oldest brother said, "Well, with my magic mirror, I'm going to get a look at this beautiful princess." So he closed his eyes, and he thought about the princess, and he opened them up, and when the misty clouds fell away in his mirror, he looked down and saw that she was lying in bed with doctors all around her, and her father weeping at her side. "Oh no," cried the oldest brother. "She's ill. She may be dying." Well, immediately, the middle brother unrolled his carpet. He said, "Everybody, climb on board the carpet. And don't forget that lemon." And they all jumped on the carpet, and boom, like that, in a heartbeat, they were inside the room with the princess and the sultan and all the doctors. They just suddenly appeared. Well, naturally, the sultan was very startled and worried. He drew his sword. He said, "Well, what are you doing in my daughter's room?" But the oldest brother said, "Oh, don't worry. It's okay. We're here to help. We're here to help. You see, with my magic mirror here, I was able to see that your daughter was ill and needed to be saved. And my brother had this magic carpet, so we were able to get here really, really fast. And, well, I hope this is going to work. My little brother's lemon juice is going to make her all better." The doctors all looked at him. Right, sure. But they had nothing to lose, so they tried it. They sliced the lemon in half, and they squeezed all of the juice out, and they put it in a very pretty little teacup. And the sultan himself went, and he held his daughter's head up so she could drink, and he held the cup to her lips, and he told her to drink the lemon juice. Well, the princess wasn't too pleased about drinking lemon juice because it was really sour and awful, but she got it down, and just as she finished drinking it, her fever went away. The color came back up into her cheeks. She sat up in bed smiling and strong. She was healthy. Her father was overjoyed. He gave her a big hug and clasped her in his arms and cried tears of joy. And then he realized that he had a small problem, because which of the brothers should get to marry the princess? The oldest brother said, "Well, it was my magic mirror that allowed us to see that she was ill, and otherwise we wouldn't have known to come save her. So I should get to marry her." And the middle brother said, "Well, it was my magic carpet. Without the carpet, we couldn't have gotten here in time to save her. So I should get to marry the princess." And the youngest said, "Well, I gave her my lemon juice and she felt a lot better." What a problem. What do you think? Do you have a guess? Which of the brothers do you think should get to marry the princess, and why? Well, here's what happened. The sultan couldn't make up his mind. He didn't know what to do. And so he decided to ask the princess. And the princess didn't have to think about it too long. What she said was, "Well, I got my life, which is indeed a precious gift. And all three of the brothers helped to make that happen. And the carpet and the mirror were indeed wondrous, amazing gifts. But those gifts are still whole. The brothers still have them. They can still use them. But the youngest brother, he gave up all that he had. He completely used up his gift all the way and gave it all to me. So I think he gave the most precious gift, and I think I should marry him. Now, is that what you guessed? Maybe you did. Well, right away, the Sultan and the two older brothers could see that the princess's decision was wise and fair, so the Sultan gave his blessing, and the youngest son and the princess were married, and they lived happily and had a long and just life together. And the two older brothers congratulated their younger brother and wished him well, and then they took their mirror and their carpet and went off and led a life full of adventure. Now you may think that that's the end of the story, and it's almost the end of the story, but there's just a little bit more. Now, do you remember at the beginning when I told you that my grandmother told me that story when I was a little girl? Every time she told me that story, she would ask me at the end who I thought had the most precious gift and what I thought the most precious gift was in that story. Well, the first time she asked, I thought I was pretty smart. I said, well, of course, it was the lemon, because that's what saved her life, and she married the youngest prince, so it was the lemon. My grandmother said, nope, that's not the right answer. And so the next time she told the story, I guessed the mirror, and then I guessed the carpet. Nope, not the right answer. So finally, I had to ask her, just tell me, what was the most precious gift in this story? And here's what she told me. I've remembered it all these years, and I hope that you will remember it too. She looked at me and she smiled and she said, the most precious gift in this story was the friendship between the three brothers, because it was their friendship that made it possible for them to work together and all do their part to make sure that the princess's life was saved. And it was their friendship that kept them from getting angry when she could only marry one of them. So that was her answer, that the friendship between the three brothers was the most precious gift in this story. So there you go. That's the story. And you could think about it, and you can decide for yourself what you think was the most precious gift in that story. Thank you so much for coming tonight and listening. I had a great time telling you the story, and I hope you had a good time listening to it. If you did, tune in again next Thursday, where we will have another great story to tell you. 6:30 on the library's Facebook page. We'll be here, and we hope you'll be here too. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening now.